Hey everyone, and welcome back to Timeless. Today we're going to be playing with some cool new cards. So, surprise anthology drop came out of nowhere. Might have been an accident, who knows? Either way, we got Broadside Bombardiers, which is one of the cards that I was really hoping would get added to Arena one day from Legacy. And we also got Gut, which is a card that I really hadn't been exposed to before this anthology, but it works pretty well as an extra copy of Broadside. So we're going to try out both of them in Energy, and we're going to try to build the deck to stress test it. We're going to play 4 copies of Ancient Tomb, and we're going to play 7 copies of these 3 drops that can be used to create really explosive board states, and we're going to see how it goes. I've played probably a dozen games of this since the set released, and I've been having a lot of fun. This seems like a pretty good configuration. I don't know whether or not it's optimal. There's definitely a lot of things you could tweak, but it feels pretty strong so far. One of the things I really like about it is that once you play Ancient Tomb, you're opened up to playing these really powerful 3 drops in your sideboard. Anointed Peacekeeper and Archon of Emeria are the kinds of cards that you really would love to have against combo decks, and you'd love to play ahead of schedule. So just rough sideboard mapping if you want to play the deck yourself. Against combo, you're taking out One Ring and Swords for these 8 Hate Bears. And then you could also bring in the Flutes too if you really think you need the help. And then against other fair decks, you're generally going to bring out your Ragavans because he's pretty easy to block, and you're going to bring in extra removal, Ghost Vacuum, maybe a Peacekeeper if they have a key card. Exercise is in the sideboard because of green-black midrange being the premier creature deck in the format right now. This exiles their One Rings, Childress, Bury Zone Guards, Barrow Goes. It hits every single thing in their deck for just 2 mana, unconditionally, which is pretty cool. And Ghost Vacuum because there's a lot of Strip Mine Recursion decks. As for the detailed configuration of this deck, it's really built around Broadside and Gut. Like I said, Broadside is very clearly the strongest fair 3 drop in the format right now, I think. After playing with this card, it's insanely strong, not just in this deck, but any deck that can really leverage it. Red Prison is having a field day right now being able to play this. And Gut, not quite as strong as Broadside, but I think in the context of Energy, it's very playable if you do a few things to enable it. We have Voice of Victory so that we could throw a couple of tokens with our Gut and our Broadside. We, of course, have a Johnny to flip with it. I'm trying to do some cute things, like I have a few extra slots in the land, so I'm like, let's play an Ancient Dem. See, maybe we can sacrifice this. As for the lands, you'll notice we're not playing Strip Mine, actually, and it's because I really don't think we have room, right? Because you sort of need these 10 fetches and 4 shock lands so that you can actually have 14 colored mana sources to fetch, and 15 if you count the basic, right? That's sort of the minimum. We're in a Strip Mine meta, so we really can't cheat on that. So we have 14, 15 of our colored sources untapped on 1, and if you count Ancient Den, I guess that's 16, 14. You really can't get lower than that. You can't really squeeze a Strip Mine into your deck. I think maybe if you really wanted to, these 2 lands here, the Ancient Den and the Arena Glory, are kind of your flex slots. You could maybe play 2 Strip Mine, but if you try to play more than 2 Strip Mine, you're really going to hurt your own mana. And this could be less consistent. You would have to cut Ancient Tomb if you wanted to make this into a Strip Mine deck, in my opinion. I just play Chrome Mox. I tried playing Chrome Mox. Chrome Mox is really sweet with Broadside, and also with this Hate Bears plan on the sideboard. Like, you play these Hate Bears on turn 1, which just prevents any combo deck from playing the game effectively. But I found that in general, the card disadvantage just wasn't worth it, but it felt pretty marginal. Again, I think you could cut exactly these 2 cards to play 2 Chrome Mox, and might be optimal, might not. We're talking about really marginal differences, so can't quite figure it out on day 1 of the format. I don't know whether or not playing all these copies of Broadside and Gut are optimal too. I'm sure 4 Broadside is optimal, whether or not Gut is optimal is to be seen, but it's a new card. I'm gonna play it because I have the opportunity to. We have a deck that's going to enable it very well, so let's try it. I'm down to 3 copies of Ragavan just because I think this card is a little bit less of a free win than it has been in the past in ladder. Ragavan might go back up to a 4 of sometime soon and be super free, but combo is really down in the meta right now. A lot of people playing just random Bowmasters and Deathrite Shamans and a bunch of cards that can just block it or remove it really easily. So it's a bit less of a freebie than it usually is, and then everything else is the very typical energy core. I think Static Prison stocks are at an all-time high. There are so many random permanents being played right now that you really need to be able to hit with Static Prison. The One Ring, Red and 6, all sorts of Planeswalkers, all sorts of enchantments like Blood Moon Fable, the Mirror Breaker. You really need this generic all-purpose removal. And sort of how this deck is built, you don't care about the energy upkeep of this at all. You're going to win the game within 2 turns of playing this pretty much every single time, just because you're playing Gut and Broadside for the explosiveness. There's been a lot of discussion about how to build Boros, and this is a bit different than the older Boros build, where it was always trying to go slow, and it was trying to be a slow fair deck. You're trying to play 4 Flage, you're always trying to play the long game. I think you're generally not playing the long game. We're really only playing the One Ring just because it is so powerful and because we have Ancient Tomb, but it's not a really slow One Ring deck. This is a card we're going to sideboard out a lot. It's just here because I think it's good enough in game 1. We have Ancient Tomb to power it up, and against creature decks, it really is just free wins. But when we're against a combo deck, or any deck that's trying to do something fast, we're just trying to go faster with Gut and Broadside. And Gut has provided a surprising amount of explosiveness to this deck. I really didn't think the first time I read this card that a 4/1 skeleton would really get there in the format. But it has been. I've been surprised. So hopefully I can show off some of those play patterns in the video. I think that's it for the app. A lot of this stuff has yet to be figured out, but this is my initial draft for playing with 4 Ancient Tombs. Feel free to copy this because it's been performing decently enough for ladder for a day 1 build. So take this as a starting point, work on the deck, and let me know what you think. I think that's enough yapping. Let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. All right, game 1. Are we on the play here? We got a Ragavan on the play. We really can't complain about this kind of a hand, right? It's a bit tougher to read into what your opponent's doing based on companions, since the recent soft rotation of the format. Usually no companion meant combo, but there's so many fair decks that don't play companion anymore. So we could have just queued into Golgari mid-range and this Ragavan just dies. But it's okay. Oh, I gotta lower my desktop audio. I'm sorry if the arena sounds are very loud. I had it louder for the podcast so that everyone could hear Greaseball. Alright. I don't think there's too many sounds in the deck builder, though. And I have the music in this game turned off, not because it's bad, but just because I've played it way too much. All right, Strip Mine on the draw against Ragavan. Please do not fire off your strips here. Okay, good job, opponent. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? This is the spot where I want to Strip Mine you. You were behind on the board. There's a Ragavan generating card advantage. Please just cycle your Troll or something here and hopefully block Ragavan next turn. Yeah, okay, it is the black mid-range. I think here we're just going to play Voice of Victory and probably plan on playing the One Ring following it. We're going to keep our treasure so that we can Static Prison. Because next turn, if they play exactly 1 blocker, we can Static Prison it out of the way, hit with our Ragavan, play our next land, play the One Ring, and then we're winning by a mile at that point. And my opponent, yeah, they mulliganed, and they ended up keeping a pretty crummy hand, right? They got 6 cards in hand plus a land, so they kept 5 with a strip. I mean, I wouldn't keep a 5 with just a strip and no other mana sources. I would probably mulligan that again. But maybe they were 1 black mana source away from being able to Dark Ritual One Ring, in which case that's pretty defensible to keep. So we're going to try the exercises. I'm going to take out a Ragavan, and then I'm just going to take out 1 Gut here. Alright, on the draw. We got a nice mix of removal and creatures, so we'll go ahead and keep this. Ooh, Exploration, nice, nice. Exploration's been very fun to play around with. I haven't seen a very good shell for this card yet. I think we're missing a couple pieces on Arena, personally, but it's really cool to see what people have come up with so far. Right, yeah, there's a Weary Zone guard, and I'll just go ahead and fire off swords here. Don't need to think too hard about this. Yeah, once we get priority, of course. Nice untap. We'll play our threats, and oop, JK, we're gonna get Strip Mine. Oh, they have Exploration, right? Oh, holy moly. That's troublesome. Okay, your turn. Alright, so that was a pretty good Exploration hand with that Strip Mine. I wonder why they didn't play that pre-combat if they had Weary Zone guard. They could have double natty stripped me if I didn't have the removal. Alright, 2 death rates. I don't think this is worth throwing the swords at. I think I want to surveil and make sure I hit a land drop or a useful spell here. I don't need more removal. I'm not going to remove the 1 drops here. There we go. That is a land. So now we can painlessly play our Ajani here, and then we could double spell off of Ancient Tomb the next turn.
Where shall we hunt today?
We can also remove these death rights if needed, but I don't think they're going to be too relevant at this point in the game. If absolutely nothing else gets played, I'll remove them, sure, but I'd rather save my removal for One Rings and very scary cards, or Weary Zone Guard. Another thought was like maybe I needed to hold up mana at instant speed to play around like Weary Zone Guard hitting the battlefield again, which would enable some crazy strips. Yeah, that's coming through. Maybe I should have fetched red-white actually to play around future strip mines. I don't have many red cards in hand, so it didn't end up mattering. There's no way for me to hold up swords here, unfortunately, like I just said. Because either I can have a white and 2 colorless, or I can have like 2 colored sources. I can't have 3 mana and have 2 colored sources. We'll just get in there with our Ajani. No token. They won't be blocking this. And then we can play another Voice of Victory. I really should have fetched a Sacred Foundry here, because if they draw another strip, or if they draw Weary Zone Guard to recur the strip, they can take us off of red again. Right, sure. Yeah, I'll take the Ajani flip. I will have Voice of Victory to block and protect it, so yeah, I'm happy to take this flip. I don't have my red permanent, but that's a problem for future me to solve. I could have plussed and planned on doing the -4. Maybe I'll do that next turn. We'll see how the board state develops, right? Did want another blocker so they don't get a free attack in if they draw a removal spell. Without making this, they draw removal, Ajani just dies to 4 power attacking. I guess Ajani still would die here if they drew a removal spell. At least I get to trade for a Deathrite Shaman with my cat. Yeah. Plus Ajani would have been safe. Would have taken it up to 5. Anyway, my opponent does have this turn to draw a One Ring. Or perhaps a Reanimate for the Goyf. They do have plenty of fine draws right now. Okay, they're going to throw everything they got at Ajani. You got it. Ajani can live here with 1 HP. They have another Bowmasters. That's life. Right. Ajani's alive. They're down to Deathrite Shaman and a Bowmaster, so One Ring is now a very, very good draw. Probably the best draw in our deck. And crop rotation. They're going to go for the strip. Alright, the strip show goes on. Alright, oh, Broadside, okay. So again, if I fetched the Sacred Foundry like a year ago, I would have been able to Broadside here and just like win the game. That's fine. This has been a cool game so far, though. Let me go ahead and... Another cat. I don't want Ajani to die if they have a removal spell. It's plus. Plus, let's get her damage in. So if we draw a red source, this Broadside does just win the game, because if Ajani will be doing damage at that point, and we get to like throw a Voice of Victory for 4 damage. But my opponent is pretty live to draw something. Of course, we have double white removal in hand. Yeah, they're just going to say GG and scoop, I guess. They didn't draw anything. Yeah, they don't know my hand, but I can answer any threat if I draw a red mana source. I play Bombardiers. If I draw a white creature, I also just like start snowballing at that point because I would have another voice or another Ajani or Guide of Souls gaining life at that point. And yeah, I have every draw in my deck is good, pretty much. And for them, yeah, it's a cool match though. Oh, I forgot I was recording for like a second, and I snap mold my first hand without saying anything about it. Anyway, we're going to be on the draw here. I'm going to put the One Ring away just because we're a bit far from it on mana. Timeless is a very big on the play format right now, which can get a bit frustrating. So just because we're on the draw, we could be dead to a bunch of things, unfortunately. But we do have a pretty solid hand. Like, if we were on the play, this hand would be awesome because we curve Ocelot Pride into Ajani into gut flip Ajani on the play. And that's sort of an unbeatable curve, unless our opponent packs multiple removal spells, right? On the draw, we're at the whims of our opponent. Alright, we're Omnitel Gaming. Cool. So we get to show off our Heat Bears sideboard strategy. Hopefully it's enough. I'm currently of the belief that you don't need discard to interact in Timeless right now. I think just packing the white removal is good enough. I meant to say this in the deck building and I didn't. Of course I didn't. So we're going to see whether or not these white Heat Bears are enough. Like, you could force this strategy to be Mardu and play Juggernaut Peddler, which would be incredibly good with Gut and Bombardiers. Don't get me wrong. I got to try that next. But you lose Ancient Tomb and your mana becomes very disruptible by Strip Mine. Alright. Oh, this is Temur Sneak and Show, actually. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, Sneak and Show is a new way to build Show and Tell, of course. Alright, let's go ahead and put Gut into play. I'll show you the explosive power of Gut here. So Gut straight up better than Goblin Bombardment here, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with my 2-1. I'm going to sacrifice this guy. Put my Ajani. I have a 4-1 Menace now. If I had gained life this turn, I could even copy the 4-1 Menace, which is obscene. And then we're going to have lethal next turn because of this Gut. And, oh, they didn't block with Shaman. I'm going to take that as a signal that this Shaman mana is very important to them, like doing Sneak and Show next turn, like Sneak Attack plus Activate. So I'm going to kill it. And yeah, we have lethal next turn because of Gut. I think with Bombardment, instead of Gut, we would not have had lethal there, but I'm recording and talking rather than doing the math, so maybe I'm wrong. I also do have like a stacked hand of other threats, right? So a lethal could come from somewhere. But this is a +1 for Gut. Like, I've seen a lot of naysayers for Gut, and like, I agree, Gut's not insanely powerful. It's not a card you can warp the deck around because it's that good. But I think Broadside is that good, and this card is a very similar role to Broadside, so I'm very happy to play a few copies of this as the 5th, 6th, 7th, and maybe 8th copy of Broadside. We'll see what ends up being optimal, though. Like, as long as I'm playing Ancient Tomb, I think I'm going to be happy to play Gut. Alright, Ren 6 Gaming is coming through. And yeah, I guess they're going to ping my 4-1, but like, I think they're just Mega Dead. I don't see how they're like not Mega Dead here, because I do this, I do this, do this, you take damage, I attack, I sacrifice, I don't fucking know my voice, attack you. On end step, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to copy this, I fly something, Gut's flying. Yeah, so the cards are ridiculous. Now, of course, I've had a lot of people say Gut's only good when you're ahead on board, and that's true. If you're, like, top decking, Gut is pretty bad. But same thing with, like, Guide of Souls is not doing anything by itself. Like, this build of energy, in my opinion, is against unfair decks like this. You're taking out the One Ring. I said this a bit in the deck tech, but I'll clarify again. You're very, like, aggressively slanted, right? Like, you're really trying to kill your opponent while they still have cards in hand. My opponent had 3 cards in hand that they didn't get to use. That's virtual card advantage right there, right? This is very much that kind of an aggro deck, and you're really just trying to get there in the first few turns of your deck, and Gut enables those really explosive starts. That's at least my opinion. Let's play the flutes as well, actually. Maybe cut 2 Voice of Victory, or maybe like a Gut and a Voice. Yeah, oh, 3 drops at this point. Maybe we can't play all of these. And this looks pretty solid. Alright, this is a 1-lander. I think we're going to send this back. I don't want to be sitting here with my 3 drops in hand, unable to cast them. This is a turn 2 Archon hand. I love it. Turn 2 Archon, it's a turn 3 Bomba. Double Archon, let's go. The thing is, with Sneak and Show, Archon's like a little less killer than normal Show and Tell, where they're trying to do like the spell combo to win the game, right? Like, if they Show and Tell here and put Emrakul into play, what does this stupid card do? Nothing. It is absolutely nothing. I wonder if I'm even supposed to lead Broadside because of that. Okay, getting attacked with the Shaman. Another Johnny. Okay, so actually, I'm gonna lead Broadside here, and then if they cast Show and Tell, I'll put Archon into play. The reason is because I can play 2 Johnnies next turn. And then, like, do a very explosive amount of damage, because the one Ajani is going to flip the other Ajani. I don't think it's worth attacking the Renin 6, by the way. I think we just need to get their life total to 0 as fast as possible. And I don't think we can do it this turn, even with the Ajani flip, but we could definitely do it the turn after. And we could set ourselves up to be able to do it the turn after, even through a removal spell, probably, if we draw another red permanent. We are a little red permanent dependent in the ability to reach really fast with this hand. I kind of brainstormed. We don't have a fetch here. They actually had 0 fetches in their Renin 6 keep, which is maybe suboptimal. Ancient Tomb coming through. They do have the ability to put like a sneak attack into play here. So we could see Sneak Emmy next turn. Yep, there it is. Alright, Peacekeeper off the top, please. Actually, Peacekeeper wouldn't do it. We need Flute off the top at this point. They did take a little self-damage. Does double Ajani kill here with the self-damage? I don't think so, right? Well, let's go through the motions, right? Do this, do this. Hey, colorless. You. You. Flip you. Yeah, it's not quite enough, right? We're gonna do 4 damage here. They have the ability to activate sneak attack, whether or not do anything. 7. They go to 5 here. Yeah, if we had an Archon and played a fling at them, it would work. Unfortunately, not enough. Sending them to 3? Oh. Actually, never mind. I was like, I saw Johnny's a target. I'm like, wait, can I sack a Johnny? No, it's only creatures and artifacts. So I want to sack a cat token here. Sending them to 3, I don't think is relevant. I guess it turns off fetches. Fetches plus Tomb. So sure, but like really we're at the mercy of whether or not they have a sneak target in hand, and I don't think we could have done anything. Maybe it's better to play Archon so they can't, well, no. Most of their lines to find a sneak target would just be casting 1 blue card draw spell. Okay, Atraxa is fine. This is not a card that wins the game on the spot. It's not Emrakul. I was worried about 15-mana Emrakul, which is, of course, new to the format. Oh, yeah, lots of sauce here. There's a stock up. They're about to gain some life, so they definitely can stock up here. Red. Oh, they're going to go for a second Atraxa? Oh, no, they have 15 mana Emmy as well. Okay. You got it. Okie dokie, on the play. After seeing this, is there anything else we could do? Would Exercise help? It would be able to exile their sneak attack at sorcery speed. I don't think it's relevant. I think 99% of the time, my opponent is going to play and activate sneak attack on the same turn. They just had a really awkward draw with no fetch lands here, which is why they had to do it. They only had like the 1 red. And there were no like lands in the graveyard, so I put 1 there very recently for the Shaman to exile. Would I want swords? You have protection from color spells, correct? Yes, sir. Yeah, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it like this. On the play, let's just turn our cards sideways. Alright, what we got here? Yeah. Ragavan, Flute, Peacekeeper, yes, sir. Alright, ideally this Ragavan hits and we actually play Peacekeeper before we play Flute, because I'd like to see what's in their hand. And ideally I'd like to Peacekeeper naming Show and Tell, and then Flute naming Sneak Attack, because I want to turn Sneak Attack's activated ability off completely. Okay, that's going to be a block here. Right. Any blockers? No way. Dude, don't let that hit you. Oh, that probably would be pretty cool, but I think I need to keep the peace. Yeah, so we're going to name Show and Tell here. And then we're going to let them cast Sneak Attack with 4 mana and then Flute it on the stack. That would be wise. So this now costs 5 mana. We'll have to keep that in mind. Oh, there's Sneak Attack. It's going to hit play. That's fine. We can Flute it. They spent their whole turn doing that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right, there's your sneak. Sure. We're gonna go ahead and go combat first. Ragavan might hit something relevant. Stock up gaming, bro. I love stock up. If we believe in the heart of the cards, we could stock up into an ancient tomb. Let's not tempt fate today. Sneak attack. Nice. Thank you. It's as if I kept the hand because it had the relevant cards in, and I mulliganed to find them. Wow. What we got over there? I got a broadside ready to go. I don't know what you possibly have. Alright, we got nothing. We're all in. I'll take a surveil. Hopefully we can hit like a relevant card to just shut the door on them. Ooh, Archon. It's probably good enough. Definitely better than some of the other cards that we could draw. Okay, broadside coming through. I can throw the treasure at Deathrite Shaman here to ensure that Ragavan connects. In fact, it seems like a pretty good deal. Or would I be able to get a lethal if I threw Flute at them? It would be 4 damage, 7, 9? Not quite. It would be 1 more if we threw Peacekeeper at them. Actually, yeah, I'll let them block here. If they want to trade for Ragavan, we can get them pretty much dead. No, that's actually... No, I don't want to throw my things. Never mind. Yeah, I was wrong. I'm going to throw the treasure at them. Yeah, I can't throw these yet because that would let them win the game. If this was exactly lethal, it'd be good enough, but it's 1 damage off. Oh, they can have, like, show and tell plus land in hand. If their last cards are, like, land, show and tell, omniscience, attract, so they win the game. Yay! Or just land, show and tell, attract, so it would still be tough, but we broadside Bombardiers around the attracts at this point. Because they can cast show and tell, it's just 5 mana. And that's why a Peacekeeper effect is, like, so good in this deck, because we're really just trying to end the game quick. We had a Ragavan draw. We played our cards ahead of schedule. We put broadside. We threw some stuff at them, and they're going to be dead on turn 5. They just can't cast show and tell that fast. Alright, nothing they could do, and they'll scoop it up. Alright. Game 3. Match 3, rather, game 1. We got a turn 1 Ragavan on the draw, but we'll accept it. Not sure what they're playing in the blind, so I don't know if I need to mulligan this specific interaction. Just go ahead and play our turn 1 Ragavan when we're allowed to, right? Hopefully Polluted Delta means another combo deck that Ragavan will get to connect against. Dark Ritual, so something at least a little unfair. Probably Reanimator. It's been very popular lately. In Rakdos colors. Right, there's your Dark Ritual. You got it. Okay, cool. Maybe just Rakdos midrange with Dark Ritual. That's really cool. Bomba's coming through. Choosing not to block against Ragavan. Alright. Maybe they have a 1 mana artifact, which is using 0 mana artifact that they can throw at Ragavan. No, they got a Grief that they can throw at Ragavan. Nice, nice. That's good. It's a good play if they throw this at Ragavan. They can take my pride and just leave me with like these 2 dopey guts in my hand. And then everyone's gonna leave a comment about how gut is terrible. GG. Yep, Grief at Ragavan, that makes sense. Alright, ooh, we drew a 1-drop. Useful. Quite useful. And then we get to Surveil here, which is also quite nice. If they have another piece of junk, they could throw it at Guide of Souls and keep all my stuff off the board. Looks like they don't have junk, or at least they're not playing it pre-combat. I love the flavor of Broadside just throwing junk at your opponent. Eek magic. Alright, we're looking at something. We were looking at Guif coming back. Sure. The They know I only have gut in hand, right? So they do just take a gut. I can gut sacrificing Guide of Souls here to try and race, which I think is going to be optimal. It's going to be tough, though. Another Broadside? Whoa, my own Broadside's crazy. Yeah, I'm keeping my own Broadside, right? My Broadside shoots their Broadside, sacrificing Guide of Souls, right? That's better than gut turning Guide of Souls into a 4-1. Though a 4-1, like, races really well. A 4-1 Menace. And then we could do Broadside the turn after. Broadside the turn after could be really sweet. Keeping you on top regardless. I'm just thinking of the sequencing. Do we want to do gut, turn this into a 4-1, they go to 8, and then Broadside might be able to one-shot them? Or we could just do Broadside now, shoot their Broadside, because this card is the kind of card that could take over the game. I think we're going to do gut first, or we're really going to try to race. He's all in, baby. If we draw like another 1-drop, then it's absolutely perfect. Alright, goodbye Modern Horizons card. I would like a 4-1 skeleton, please. Alright, yeah, so they can like fling a grief at me to knock me low on life. Okay, Barragoyf, but I'm not dead. They target me, I'm not dead. If they target my skeleton, then that's a little troublesome, but not crazy. Okay. They targeted me and we win. We win. We win. Woo! We did it. We did it, Reddit. Yep, that's a nice coming through. In fact, I'll turn my Broadside into a skeleton. Just for all the gut haters. Gut haters. Yo, gut haters, where you at? Gut haters from the last game. Gut's crazy, guys. Like, gut is not an objectively insanely powerful card in every board state, but on a board state exactly like this one, where I just got to get them to 0. It's really strong. Okie dokie. Yeah, I wonder, would I have won that game if it was 2 Broadsides instead of a Broadside and a gut in my hand? I'll have to look back and watch it. Alright, this is probably Reanimator. We didn't see like a fat payoff for Reanimator, but like, one could assume. So we're going to bring in the Exercises and the Ghost Vacuums. We're going to take out a Ragavan and a Voice. Seems pretty good. Could even do something like fluting. Fluting? We're not fluting. No, not today. And we want to keep all our removal in. Let's go like this. Alright, opponents are going first, but we have all the removal to contain them. We have a 1 ring if the game goes long. Maybe this is one of the decks that 1 ring comes out against, actually. Now I think about it, like, we could have kept our Ragavans in. Maybe on the play we play Ragavans over the 1 ring. I'll think about it. Because I don't want to, like, go into a top deck war with Reanimator, because, like, they'll eventually just reanimate an Atraxa. And it's kind of over from there. Let's just go ahead and clear this Goyf before it starts snowballing. We could do it at sorcery speed, it's fine. It's fine, we'll get our F6 value, and there's gonna be somebody who's snide and says that I should do it in combat, but like, I really don't have that many brain cells today, dude. I'm playing energy, alright? Let's chill. Let's play around Strip Mine by getting a Shockland. Play our Voice of Victory. If we could voice into Bombardiers, it's a nice bit of explosiveness. If we don't, we still get to like play 2 white spells, which is fine. We'll get pushed. I'd love an Ancient Tomb for this 1 ring. I just said I wanted to cut the 1 rings, and here I am asking for an Ancient Tomb. And then they reanimate our Voice of Victory. That's acceptable. We're going to do the trick, where we're going to get it back. And then there's nothing fat in the graveyard where I absolutely need my Ghost Vacuum down this turn, so we'll play our Pride. If they can't remove or block this, it's going to start snowballing. Nice. Oh, Guide of Souls? Alright, GG, game's over. Gee. Yep, I'm gonna get the nices. Some very fortunate draws. Especially including drawing the Ghost Vacuum. That's a little messed up. Alright, troll coming through. Anyone trying to reanimate a troll? Alright, voice going out. I think I would have shot Guided Souls or maybe the Pride here. Or do they have multiple removals? No thank you on a reanimate tool. Oops. Does you or a loved one suffer from chalice blindness or one of the adjacent diseases?
Where shall we hunt today?
Alright, go Modern Horizons creatures. We love Modern Horizons. Yay, Modern Horizons. Alright, sweet. GG's. Alright. Match for the video on the play against Macaron. We have a pretty good hand. Always happy to see Modern Horizons creatures and Swords to Plowshares. Can never say no to that. We see Lurrus, so we know that the Sword's going to be quite good against them. I mean, Swords and white removal is just, like, very, very good in the format right now. Like, everyone's playing creatures to some degree, even if it's, like, kind of unfair trying to sneak and reanimate. Go ahead and attack with our Modern Horizon creature here. One day Modern Horizons 3 will be power crept out of the format, but until that day, I'm going to be playing with the Guided Souls and a Johnny. Thank you.
What a beautiful day, brother.
Alright, a Modern Horizons card under Chromox. A not Modern Horizons creature is sitting play. I love Swift Spear's Teachings, by the way. I love this card. I want to brew around it more in the future. I haven't been able to figure out a good shell for it, but hopefully soon in the future we'll figure it out. I really think this card is exceptionally powerful. And it didn't get, like, the proper look at just because it's a random alchemy card. No paper players know this card exists, so we don't have that inspiration and wisdom to draw from. I mean, I did look at it and try to put some decks together a while ago. It felt fine, but yeah, like, there's definitely a Steelcutter Swift Spear's Teaching shell that could be quite good and timeless. Like, we just need to figure it out, I think. Right. Surveil me, please. I would like a One Ring this time of day, please. Artifact lands, why are we doing that? Actually, what is up with airplane food? Why are we playing a random tapped artifact land in our deck? Maybe they're playing like Galvanic Blast or something? And they're like very burny? I like that if that's true. I think hasting the voice doesn't accomplish too much. I'd rather have the mana up for next turn. It would be better to honestly put Jegantha into my hand and then haste that if I really wanted to use Arena of Glory. We'll see. Maybe we'll draw another 2-drop and put Jegantha into our hand and haste that 2-drop maybe. I'd love to see a Shrapnel Blast, by the way. Alright, another bolt, sure. And another spell for Steelcutter? Yep, and there's Tamia.
Oh! How am I supposed to focus on only one project?
Wait, we're gonna go to 9? Really 7 because of Deathrite Shaman? 6 because we're fetching? This is a rough situation to be in, to be honest. One Ring off the top, please. Alright, we can haste the voice. I don't even think we haste the voice. I think we got a block with this voice. I want a block. Oh man, we're kind of cooked. We do need like our weight removal to show up. We're gonna be making a clue every turn with Tammy at the very least too, so they're gonna be outdrawing us. and we're going to be low enough that the One Ring just becomes too dangerous at a very near point in the future. That's 1, 2, 3 cards that Shaman can exile to lower our life total, so we might just be dead to that. Especially with them playing all the bolts in their deck, we might just be dead off this draw step. Wait. After some thinking, we're attacking. I do want to like play around a prowess trigger and not be dead to that, right? So we're gonna do this. Lurrus to hand, alright. I mean, even just Lurrus by itself kind of wins the game. Okay, swords. How is the swords need to get deployed in order to win the game, right? Because it sucks. We're like kind of dead regardless of what we do. They got nothing to replay off the Lurrus. Shaman's killing me. I could sword Shaman, but then like I have to shock into play Foundry at that point. I could just haste in Gigantha, in which case they probably block with Shaman, replay it off Lurrus. That's not really helping our case, is it? But they don't quite have the mana for that. I think haste Gigantha and try to get some sort of win like that is probably our best line to victory. Although it's very tight here. Hit them for 5, and then we probably have draws to turn this into lethal next turn. But our opponent has draws to just, like, bolt us in the face. I think we do lose this game 90% of the time. Could they Quarry Steel Cutter move it around to get lethal? I don't think so, right? Oh, yeah, they can. They can Quarry Steel Cutter on the Tameo, activate the Third Shaman. I think that's what they're figuring out right now. I don't think I had a way to play around that other than hold up stores instead of playing Jatha. Or they can just get the cantrip in. Draw another spell, get a Steel Cutter trigger, and then they win off of that. Now we have to chump block with our Voice of Victory. Which means we're dead unless we draw like a Broadside or something equally crazy. Yeah, and there they make another guy. He's got haste. Game's over. Okie dokie. Let's... Exercise is not going to work here. Unfortunately, their stuff's too small. Ghost Vacuum? I think we keep the deck as is on the play, and then maybe on the draw we do Ghost Vacuums over Ragavans. Alright, we're going to be on the play for game 3. We got Ragavan on the play. You just can't ask for anything else in life at this point. All I want in life is Ragavan on the play. Maybe 4 Ragavans in the deck again. The card's free wins. You play it, you turn it sideways, you win the game. It's just that simple. You have white removal in your hand, it means you get to turn it sideways, unless they have a removal spell. You think you can play a Deathrite Shaman and block? No thank you. I just don't consent to it. So it's simple. Of course, their deck is absolutely stacked with the bolts. So this Ragavan is probably going to die. That was a dramatically timed lightning strike. Yeah, he's gonna die. And our sorcery speed removal is not gonna hit anything this turn, so we're just gonna kind of get time walked here. And we're not doing anything other than surveilling, which is kind of poopy. We have a Broadside to play next turn, but it's Broadside with nothing else on the board. It's kind of just a 2-2 haste. We'll see what they're up to, though. Strip Mine, alright, Strip Mine Gaming. Strip Mine Steel Cutter, you got it. That's a very ambitious deck. 3 colors with Strip Mine, and this low to the ground with all those colored pips. Right, let's go ahead and surveil here. See what we draw. Hopefully we draw another 1 or 2 mana spell so we can do Static Prison plus that. Yeah, I'll take a cat. This kind of become a question of, do I get rid of the Steel Cutter or do I get rid of the Token? Considering I don't have energy generation, and I actually don't think I'm going to win the game quickly, I'd say I'm behind, especially if they have more removal spells. I'm going to take out the Token. That's some just guaranteed removal of pressure. Ideally, I'd like this steel cutter gone, because they're probably just going to make another token. But they can't make another token and strip mine me. I don't feel great about this game, nor this matchup. I think my opponent has the secret sauce to remove all of our threats and get under us at the same time. And unless like we have a really busted Modern Horizons creatures kind of opening hand, doesn't seem too hopeful for us. Alright, if that's shocked, they probably can double spell. They can run in 6 strip mine. That's bad. Okay, ping my kitty cat. That means Ren in 6 will die. That's a good thing. Ren in 6 will die. They do not recur their strip mine. They do not pass go. They do not collect $200. Blah, blah, blah. So they're just gonna strip me while my sources are tapped. That's fine. Don't mind. Here we're gonna let this prison break on our upkeep, of course. Say nothing here. Go ahead and grab a basic here, just keep it painless. Okay, so Broadside not doing a whole lot without any other junk on the board, but hopefully we can get there. What's Grease messaging me? I missed something. What did I miss, guys? Molten Collapse, yep. Alright, and there's that Steel Cutter staying in play, but here's the thing. It would have... The Static Prison would have broken this turn anyway, so like they're getting their Steel Cutter back regardless. Just gonna Swords that DRC. Voice of Victory, I mean, yeah, there's your Bard. I'm also just gonna take this out at sorcery speed, just so they don't get any free surveils on their turn. And yeah, we're not looking too great. Long Goodbye comes through. Long Goodbye is actually like a really sweet card. I think more people need to pick this up because cards to beat right now include like Oko, Weary's on Guard, Baragoyf, a bunch of 3-drops, including 3-drop Planeswalkers, Brandon 6 as well as a 2-drop Planeswalker. And it's uncounterable for like those Oko, Brennan 6 Blue Coke slop decks, right? So I think this is a really sweet card that people need to look at. Honestly, my opponent's deck is full of sweet cards that people need to look at, Swift Series Teachings being the other main one. And I was playing just for fun a artifact burn deck. Maybe I'll make a video on it. It's more fun than good. But it was super fun playing 4 copies of this Galv Blast that they have, and also 4 Shrapnel Blast and 4 Bolt. It was a great time, honestly. And yeah, we're so dead here. Well, I'll let them do the honors. The deck is cool. Alright, closing thoughts. Deck feels pretty good. I feel like this might be a new optimal way to build Boros energy. It's a bit different than the old build, and of course, more time to experiment, and we need more time for the meta to settle. But this does feel pretty good as a starting point if you want to like copy this to start experimenting on your own. Like these cards, Broadside and Gut were both impressive. Gut especially did have some good moments in this video, so I'm glad I did get that on video for the doubters. Like, yeah, this card's not crazy, but like in the context of energy, this is a very playable card. And yeah, I feel like this is pretty good. I don't know if you necessarily need discard to attack the meta. I think discard is still fine and timeless. It's just that we would have to drop Ancient Tomb and B3 colors and really expose ourselves to strip mine if we did that. So I think for the time being, this Boros build is a lot more efficient than Mardu. I was actually thinking about doing Mardu with like kind of the same structure with Gut and Broadside. Because you get to play Bowmasters and Peddler, which is like really good with Gut and Broadside, because they do an ETB and then leave a body behind, so that you could turn it into extra damage. And I think that's sweet. It has the One Rings in the sideboard as well. But like this mana is gross compared to the other deck. It's got so many colored sources, it's so easy to get stripped off your colors. It's got no Ancient Tomb. A little tough to make it work, right? But I do think that Bowmasters and Peddlers are better cards than Voice of Victory, and they provide really good interaction. So I'll make a video on this if it turns out decent. I'm going to play this today. And you guys let me know. What's your thoughts on energy? Should we just go back to playing Lurrus? Is this stupid card worth playing? I'm pretty sure it is. This card is cracked. It's cracked in half, man. But we'll see how the meta evolves, and you guys let me know.